Business Brain, episode 518 for Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Business Brain, the show where you sometimes send in stuff, sometimes we come up with stuff. We take the stuff, concepts, ideas, actions that other people have taken, actions that we have taken. We dissect them, we analyze them, we go through them together, me, him, you, so that each of us can tune our business brains every single episode. Sponsors for this episode include GoSquaredAway.com, highly educated military spouses to be your remote executive assistants, and Gusto.com/businessbrain, where you get 3 months of payroll, benefits, admin, and more totally free. We'll talk more in depth about each of those in a little bit. For now, here in slightly warmer Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And out here in wet California, I'm Shannon Jean.
That's atypical for you to be.
It is. It's been great.
That's good.
We've getting pounded. Yeah. We've had a lot of rain out here, which is fantastic, which means
That's
a lot
great.
of snow, which California relies on the snowpack to get through, because a big part of the state is desert. And
right.
a lot of people.
Snowpack keeps your water, keeps you hydrated. I got it.
As
Yeah,
it melts.
got it.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good. Hey, before we get into our main topic today, which is we're going to talk about SWOT, SWOT. I did this exercise that I wanted to talk about and just throw it out there. And
all right.
It is, we did a show about, what do we call it? Your cause, your grand cause, something like that.
Yep.
A while back from a post from a guy on X named Girdley.
Yep.
And we talked about how that added to your business and got everybody on board. And I started thinking about it. And then I listened to
your noble cause.
Your noble cause. Thank
Business
you.
Brain 508.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
And I listened to a great podcast called How to Take Over the World, which is just tremendous. I can't recommend it enough.
Okay.
Talks about leaders, historical leaders, and then it kind of brings in a business aspect. And they did a couple episodes on the Rothschilds, which I thought was fascinating.
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
really good, and I learned a lot. And one of the things that they had was a very strong family motto. And I thought, hey, there you go. Yeah. And I said, you know what? We should have a family motto. Our family's growing. My daughter's getting married this year. My son is graduating from college. I don't know where he's going to wind up.
Sure.
But the things that are really important to this small core group, we want to keep together and educate this next group of people that eventually come along. And plus, you're bringing in outsiders, right, that are going to marry into your awesome family.
Yes.
And so over the holidays, we did an exercise. I got the whiteboard out. I actually got the Quartet big giant whiteboard that they sent me, which is terrific. And I posted a picture of it up on Twitter. But anyway, we picked out like the top 20 words that represented our family, and I thought it was pretty cool. And you could do it with your business, and we got a great response out of it. And I thought it was great. So I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I like that idea. Have you solidified your family motto? And do you mind sharing it?
No, I don't mind at all. Let me go. I have to go into my Google Drive, which I'm going to do right now.
Okay.
And right here. So I shared it with everybody. We had 20 words, and then everybody got to vote.
Okay.
And I was kind of looking for 3 or 4 words that were really nailed it.
That resonated with everybody.
And,
sure.
And I also learned during this exercise is that with Google Sheets, it has a calculation that converts to whatever language you want. And in this case, I wanted it to convert to Latin because I want to put this on a family crest and have it Latin.
Like
it's kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah.
So the winners the top 4 were ambition, which is ambitio.
Okay.
Courage,
which
is animus. Authenticity, which is veritas.
Yeah.
And creativity, which is great. I love, which I don't think I have the whatever reason I don't have Latin on here, but I thought those 4 words because and those were those got the most votes, and some of us didn't vote at all for certain ones, but
of course
other ones, and there were 5 of us voting. So now I'm going to put those together. We're going to build a crest, and every new child born into the family gets that tattoo. But we're going to do some. Merch
you can't tattoo a child, but you can brand a child.
Yeah, we'll take that route.
Just
That'll
brand
be awesome.
them.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We'll just brand them. But
it's fine.
It's cool because now I feel it's quick. They won't remember.
No.
It's something that we can discuss and keep discussing as the family grows out, grandkids and all this kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be kind of cool, and I just wanted to share it with our audience.
I think it's great. I love it. There is power in this. Yes. My great grandfather did really well for himself. He actually helped kind of build the railroads throughout New England. He's helped save a bunch of companies and stuff. I met him a few times, but I was very, very young.
Sure,
never really got to know him. But he actually he and his wife wrote a book about their lives. We call it the Red Book in our family, and cool. It has persisted. And every grandkid up through my generation, everyone was given a copy of the Red Book, and there are still some extra copies around.
Yeah,
but he did, he prioritized family over all else, and the book was a part of that. I mean, it was his story, but it was for his family, and really told the story of how he built his family, and his legacy is that the family remains connected.
Yeah,
decades after his passing, and it's amazing. He had bought a bunch of land in Boothbay Harbor, Maine, and his idea was that this would become like family compound-ish,
kind of,
and it would be a place that the family could always go. And some of the land had to be sold off because the house he lived in wound up being sold off because at the time it needed to be liquidated. Nobody could pick it up. Right. It was worth millions. And so it was, but so that unfortunately remains outside of the family, at least at the moment. But there's always talk of bringing it back in.
But I think it's a good exercise.
But definitely. he succeeded in that, like most of the family lives, has retired and lives up there, which is amazing to me. It is
amazing.
Most of the time it's, the siblings fight about the land and it gets, they sell it for the cash and that's the end of it. But
that's right.
But you start doing things like this and it helps cement that family first kind of, remember that there's value here. I think it's great, man.
I love it. It's a great exercise. And I was happy that everybody was excited about doing it.
All right, folks. You know what's less fun than a surprise tax audit? Well, probably nothing. But close second, managing payroll and HR. Cue the groans, right? But wait, what if I told you that there's a superhero in the world of payroll and HR? Enter our sponsor, Gusto. Picture this, payroll that's actually painless, benefits that don't break the bank, and HR that doesn't make you hit the snooze button. Imagine, my fellow business brains, a world where payroll runs smoother than your morning coffee, where W-2s and 1099s are less intimidating than your morning crossword, and health benefits don't sound like rocket science. That's right, Gusto is like that friend who knows all about taxes and doesn't make you feel bad about not knowing what a W-4 form is. It's an all-in-one, remote-friendly platform where you can hire, onboard, pay, and support your team across the globe. And guess what? It's easy peasy to use, even from your beach hammock or your mountain cabin. 3 out of 4 customers say they run payroll in 10 minutes or less with Gusto. The 4th customer, well, they were probably just too busy enjoying how much time they saved to respond. And here's the kicker. For listeners of Business Brain, Gusto is offering 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's more savings than finding a forgotten 20 in your winter coat. And I'm wearing my winter coat a lot, so I think there's going to be a lot of 20s in there. So wave goodbye to payroll and HR headaches and say hello to Gusto. Visit gusto.com/businessbrain and give your business the gift of time, savings, and peace of mind. That's gusto.com/businessbrain. Now, let's get back to tuning those business brains of ours, and our thanks to Gusto for sponsoring this episode. All right, now, though, let's talk about the entrepreneur's universal challenge, time management. Like when managing your inbox feels like playing whack-a-mole with a rubber hammer, or when balancing your professional and personal life feels like juggling flaming torches underwater. Anyway, here's the good news. I've found our time-traveling superhero, minus the cape, squared away. Picture this. Highly educated, driven, and dedicated military spouses turning into your remote executive assistants. It's like finding a unicorn that can do your taxes. I absolutely adore this concept, folks. Military spouses are like Swiss Army knives, versatile, resilient, and always handy in a pinch. Squared away assistants are the ninjas you need. They sneak in, tackle your admin work, manage projects, and handle those pesky little tasks that nibble away at your time. They're like professional plate spinners, keeping everything aloft while you focus on, well, being the business wizard that you need to be. And the best part, they're in every U.S. time zone and work as W-2 employees, not contractors. It's like having a personal productivity army, but without the need to feed and house them. So if you're ready to stop feeling like a circus ringmaster and more like a CEO, you've got to check out Squared Away. See how they can help you. Just go to GoSquaredAway.com. Again, that's GoSquaredAway.com. Say goodbye to task terrors and hello to your new secret weapon, and our thanks to Squared Away for sponsoring this episode. All right, Shannon, you said you wanted to SWOT things, and
yes.
I've SWOT, and I've heard of SWOT before. I've seen it used in programming, specific to projects, I should say.
Okay, sure.
Where you're looking at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right?
You got it. Strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And it's also, it's used in the corporate world a lot. And matter of fact, this idea came from a great follow on Twitter called The Management Consultant, and we'll put a link in the show notes. You can find him up. I'll repost it as well.
Yep.
And he talked about how it's a great time of the year to be sitting down and considering these things, your strengths, your weaknesses, what opportunities that you've got, and what the threats are to your business. And
so looking at, like, it's not just swatting a given project or thing. This is zooming out and doing it for your entire business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and so
it makes sense. Yeah,
I thought it was great, and I'd love to. I wanted to talk about it from a small business perspective, because I think it's. I know what it is as well, and we've done it in planning, but I love this. There's some great, he's got a great chart up here to help you break down, what these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats may be. And I think it'd be great to share with your team, to sit and discuss it so you can focus on, okay, here's our strength. What's working great that maybe we want to lean into? What are we the best at? What is it? And if you can't identify something, that's a problem altogether.
No, this is why these are good things to do. I never thought about doing it for just the entire business, but like you said, what are we great at?
Yeah, what are we good at?
The second question he puts up there is, what unique resources do we possess? Which I call, what are our unfair competitive advantages?
Exactly.
Like, what do we have that someone else can't have? And it's good to know if you don't have an answer to that question too, like you said.
Yeah, you want to, all businesses want to rise above mediocrity, right?
Right.
And even if you didn't invent a new widget or come up with some fantastic new thing, if you're a contractor, HVAC person, I was in the, tech repair business. It wasn't, rocket science, but the way we did it was our strength, and the way we learned how to manage our customers and to deliver a level of service that they weren't used to, and to thrill our customers, that was our strength. And we leaned into that as much as we possibly could, because that was our unfair advantage.
That's it, right?
That we could do it so quickly, and we knew, how to handle people, and the sense of urgency, all things that I've talked about on the show over the years. But we also had a lot of weaknesses, right? And
of course, every business does, folks.
Yeah. And I'm happy to be out of that tech space now, because one of the biggest weaknesses is the commoditization of not even just the products, but the services that
the service, the business of it in and of itself.
In and of itself, over time, just got driven, and there's so many competitors came into the market that were solely focused on price that it just became like, why are we here? And that's the customer. If you're solely focused on price all the time, you're just going to attract the worst type of customer. And, we always wanted to be on the high end and offer another level of service, but it became more and more difficult. So that was the weaknesses. That was our tough love. I mean, I wound up eventually selling the business and getting out of that because of that reason. Because I was like, quite frankly, I didn't know how to innovate past it. And I'm not sure that it does. When you would go to every single store, whether it was when Staples started getting into the repair business, I thought, oh wow, this is bad news.
Yeah, right.
Because these folks want you to come in and buy paper, for crying out loud. Yeah, they're going to make crazy margins on paper and do this repair for nothing. So, what things don't work, really, really important. And then what your opportunities are. What is the next thing? When I got into the repair business, it was crazy, big monitors, desktops. I mean, the technology wasn't even good enough to where you could solely run your life or your business on a laptop.
I remember. Laptops were too slow.
The processors were not as good because of battery life and all this kind of stuff. So the things we could work on were great, but over time, it just got less and less and less. And so you constantly had to innovate. And that's what are the opportunities? How do you take the next step, from working on Apple color laser printers to realizing that laptops are now the most important business tool and trying to get, working to get a laptop pickup box in every DHL van in the country.
Sure.
Those were our opportunities, and you have to identify them and try it, experiment, and see if it works. And luckily it did work, and we were able to stay in that business for 20 years before it just became ridiculous.
Yeah, right. No, I want to do this for my business. I am not necessarily eager to see all of the results.
No, I hate bad news.
Right, exactly.
It's the optimist dilemma is that I don't want to sit down and talk about this last thing, the threats. I don't want to do it. I don't want to know what my competitors are doing. It's just my human nature. I just want to focus on what we're good at, but you need to know what
you have to know. It is good. Like it is good to carve out moments where you make yourself aware of these things and you give yourself opportunity to think about these things in time. You don't want to be preoccupied with the threats all of the time, because you have to believe that there is a reason to go and like do the work each day.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you're obsessed about the threats all the time, that will paralyze you.
But I do believe, and if you can't do it, somebody in your organization needs to be the designated downer.
Yes.
Because they need to want okay, great, all these optimistic things are great, and we're going to achieve all these great things, but here's the immediate threat that we need to address. Competitive issues, which like I just talked about, price, regulatory issues. Apple hated companies like us because we, quote, didn't follow the rules and we sourced parts in the gray market, and they didn't like it. They just hated it. So it was constant battle that you have to go through. So it's important to sit down. I love this framework because it walks you through it, and you can sit down and just kind of lay things out and develop a roadmap. And maybe it's for 6 months, 3 months, maybe it's for your entire year. And now's a great time to do it. We're still in January. And I'd love to hear how you have used this before. Feedback at businessbrain.show. Share your concept, this SWOT or whatever fancy acronym you may have. Help us learn more and share to the business brain as a whole.
Yeah, SWOT. Also, feedback at businessbrain.show. Just like he said, make sure you check out our sponsors, gusto.com/businessbrain and Go Squared Away. And go to businessbrain.show and sign up for our mailing list so you get all the show notes in your inbox and keep living that charmed life. We'll see you next time.